James Blonde. Felix Darker, our friend in the States, has warned us of a potential attack on a local racing circuit in the southeast of England from the international crime organization Sim Racing Alliance. My mission, if I choose to accept it, is to determine if SRA has the speed and skill to carry out such an attack. I'm going to have to kiss a lot of beautiful women to get to the bottom of this, but it's worth it for King and Country. But till then, what we know is this week's race is full of aces. It's race night. You know what we're going to do? We're going to light them up. Thank you, Dominic. Ugh, that's terrible. I said shaken, not stirred.
Welcome back to the beginning of another Sim Racing Alliance season. It's been a long break, and we're back.
But it's been quite a long break, and I think you, me, and everybody involved with tonight's action is super excited to get going.
So they got a straight fight the rest of the night. He's going to have to make a move. That's a Punterino.
Serious pressure from Boostra.
Trying to switch on the inside. So when he goes on the inside for the defense, oh my goodness, right in between.
He's going to dive to the inside of both of them. They're going to go three wide corner.
And we're off and away for SRA.
I'm so excited to see what our drivers are going to give us tonight. Tight and twisty track, passing is going to be tough, so qualifying is going to be super important tonight. Yeah, and then the other thing to consider is our pit requirements for tonight, where we have 25-second minimum stop time. Oh, no. Yeah, we are dealing with some issues. Yeah, I'm not... say something, please, Andrew. Nope. Alright. Let me, commentators. Alright, say something now.
Yes, 1, 2.
That's it. Wow. I don't know what happened there.
There we go.
It, was, I think, pulling audio from the wrong Discord, which is very strange.
All right, well, we're here now, at the very least. So, shouts to Bailey and Jess for hopping in here and letting us know, because I was well into my introduction before we realized that anything was wrong there. But I guess we can just do it all again real fast. Welcome everybody. We're here with round 5 Brands Hatch. It's me, Andrew Reif, and my buddy Adam Santana. And we're getting ready for this race. That's the long and short of it.
Oh, you had such a great intro too.
I know, dude.
It was so good. And people only had to hear me. That's so disappointing.
Well, you know what? You were there to witness it. So I'm not particularly perturbed by that. But we gotta go fast here because I think qualifying is just about a minute away from starting here. So let's pull up just real fast track map. Of course, Brands Hatch, tight and twisty course here. 9 turns in total, and I gotta be honest, that's not a whole lot, but it feels like a ton when you're on the circuit.
Yeah, this track doesn't stop. It's corner after corner. There's really only one decently long straight, and even it's not that long. So not a lot of runoff, a lot of grass, a lot of dirt, so it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, Paddock Hill, Druid's Corner as well. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of havoc played down there potentially for lap 1. I mean, Druid's has to be one of the best overtaking opportunities on this circuit because Paddock Hill is so easy to get wrong. So if you can capitalize on a mistake, that's going to be your best bet. You can't count out the infield or the outfield either. The fast sweeping turns 5, 6, 7, and 8 really, and then turn 9. I mean, all of that you have to take a very high speed, very high commitment if you want to find that lap time. So our race is going to have a lot of potential lap time to gain, but also a lot to lose. Let's take a look real quick at the driver's standings as we get into this race. Eduardo Rodriguez critically was not present in Valencia, so started fall back a little bit. KV Smith moving up a little bit. Scott Fisher with a key P2 finish at Valencia as well has started to move more and more up the order. And then of course Mike Gino is our current front runner, just kind of walking away with these last 2 races.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back wins for Gino if I'm not mistaken, and
yes,
something we have to consider as well is the drop race is now being considered in the standings as well, so that appears to have shaken things up a decent bit.
And it is. We'll take a look here lower down in the driver's standing still with 0 points, John Correa, which I believe is because they've been absent for all of the races. I could be wrong on that one. Ian Demler, I think I'm a little bit surprised to see down here. Waleed Sadat, these are 2 racers that we talked about on a couple of occasions, particularly in Suzuka. We'll take a look real quick at the team standings as the drivers are starting to get out on circuit for the qualifying. And I do believe it is Jess Osborne and Selena Boonstra who continue to move up the field a little bit. They're in 3rd place right now, but Lorenzo Fisher Motorsport looking very solid with Christian Lorenzo and Scott Fisher both putting in consistent good performances.
Yeah, they both had a great race at Valencia, so I'm sure they're going to be trying to keep that rolling here at Brands Hatch.
How much is true? We'll get into qualifying now. Let's not hold you guys up anymore because we're finally getting drivers out on the circuit for their first flying laps, it looks to be. And we'll just have to see what happens here. You know, there was a couple of qualifying mix-ups last go-around. Scott Fisher was on pole, followed by Robbie Toddy and Austin Whitescarver. Mike Gino was in P4, but they've had some seriously good times in the last couple of weeks here for hot laps and hot stints for all the circuits that they've been on.
Yeah, another thing drivers are going to be dealing with tonight, as everyone can see, is qualifying is taking place at 4 a.m., so a little bit harder to spot some apexes here in the dark, and already have a couple blind corners here anyway, so it's really tricky conditions for qualifying.
Surely is, and looks like Sullivan got flagged for a yellow, but I believe they're just letting somebody pass, so not a huge issue on that front. But I feel like the biggest questions that I'm going to have is certainly going to be for our championship leaders. Christian Lorenzo out on circuit here now as a silver racer in this division, but certainly based on the performances that we've seen so far, doesn't necessarily feel like it. I'm also looking for something out of Felker further down the field, the 484. But you know, no times on the board just yet. We'll get the first one here. It's a 125 flat. Certainly not bad, but I feel like you're going to be looking for a lot of improvement with a pace like that.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe the track probably started in fast, so it's going to need to rubber in a little bit. Unfortunately, Not great conditions at the start for the silver drivers, but the track will rubber in fast.
Yeah, it surely will. That's going to be the most important part. Like I said, 125 flat, certainly not a bad time, especially given the conditions. I think, I might not be giving enough credit to Lorenzo setting down the first lap time, and a pretty competitive one at that for a first lap. Still got 6 minutes to go, so loads of potential. And as we were talking about before, in the outfield, there's a lot of high commitment corners, as we can see right here, as Wicks moves into that T5 section, just trying to make use of all the curb on the exit, and then again, all the curb on the entry for the follow-up, as well as all of the exit. There's just so much time to be gained there, but if you make one little judgment mistake, it can cost you the entire lap, and in the race, it'll cost you more.
Yeah, you can see that already as the car in front of Wicks dipped a little bit into the grass and the dirt there.
Ben braking just on that second board, trying as hard as they can to get close to those bollards without putting them out. It looks like they're going to be on for a slight improvement, if I'm not mistaken, as they cross the line, and that's more than a slight improvement.
Yeah.
A second of lap time. I must be on the wrong ACC race control page, because that was impressive.
Yeah, it was a really good improvement for Wicks there.
Velker's done a 125.3. It's the first valid lap, I think, for them. I could be mistaken on that one. I didn't quite spy if they have one on the board initially, but already looking like a little bit of green. Lorenzo continues to improve, moved up to a 124.99. The delta minus 0.2 seconds at present, so they're improving, as well as Ron Flo was, at least until a moment ago. We'll get on board with Lorenzo here near the last half of the lap. Last half of the lap? Laugh? English is hard. I don't know.
Yeah, fully committed through those two corners there for Lorenzo. Using all the tracking, I mean, cutting as much as they dare.
Really impressive as well. 5.5 tenths up on their time into the final bend, and it looks like they've got more to save. It looks like they might have lost a little bit on the exit, but it's still going to be a very impressive time. Advancing to a 124.39, especially given the track conditions. I mean, we expected a little bit of evolution, but this quickly?
Yeah,
surely not.
That's a very good lap. I think that's going to be competitive with quite a few of the gold drivers.
Gino might be shaking their boots a little bit. I doubt it, but it's entirely possible. Lorenzo is already improving, by the way.
Yeah, he's just rolling on through into this lap. Morrison's seeing some big gains as well.
They are.
4 tenths so far. Not looking like it'll bother Lorenzo at the top, but still a very good lap.
Lots of low 125s, though, for the silver drivers. It's very clear that there's a lot of positions to be gained with just a couple of tenths here in qualifying, and that will be an improvement up to P2, 124.6. About 3 tenths behind pole position, but still good. Christian Lorenzo is on an absolute streamer of a lap. Are we going to see more of this? 5.5 tenths down on even a 124.3?
We look away for just a second. I mean, just ripping through the track right now.
I need this guy's set up right now. Still some high commitment corners to come, so if they're still finding a lot of grip, I mean, there's tenths to save here. So it looks like they make a good run here at the last corner, and it is going to be an incredibly solid lap time of a 123.88. The bar continues to get lower and lower.
That's an incredible lap time. That's... I don't know if that's necessarily going to be fighting for the overall pole, but that's a very good lap. Let's go to Sullivan here as they finish their lap. Moves up to P2. Still almost 7 tenths off Lorenzo. That's a mighty lap.
We need like 10 extra minutes of qualifying to let the track rub there, because it's very clear that there's a lot of time to be gained around here. On flow about 2 tenths up on their lap time right now, looking like they're going to stay actually in the spot that they're in, unless they can find a little bit more, but they're raising that bar just a little bit on their part. Stefani, we're on board with right now, has a lot of positions to make up, and they've got a lot of time on the table.
Yeah, I mean, we already saw Lorenzo 7 tenths up. on P2, but I mean, the times from the rest of the silver drivers are not really up there.
Crash for Dean Wicks, I believe that is. I'm going to get that one up on the picture-in-picture. Looks like taking a little bit too much on the outfield. They try to get on the brakes to stabilize the car, but they go around. Looks like nobody was collected in that incident, thankfully. It might not have even impacted lap times too severely, but it's still an unfortunate little outcome there. Ooh, Secombe up to P2. That's an impressive lap there, 124.4. These lap times make me feel bad. Don't worry, Jeffrey. They make me feel bad too.
Well, the issue is that's my teammate, so he shouldn't. Coach, you can't be saying that, man.
No. Well, that's bad news. I'll let you guys work that out. Morrison improving here. Moving towards the final bend. Lorenzo has just picked up a bit of a yellow flag. Looks like they didn't have much of an issue with that one. Alternatively, another car running off track, but I think they might have just been done with quali. Morrison down to the line, about 3/10 up on their time. It's looking like it might be 2 positions on the board, and they will go up to provisional P2 right now.
Very good.
Secombe is on a lap, but they're down quite a bit here out of Paddock Hill, so they're going to need to find a load of time if they want to get that podium starting spot back. I've seen a braking reference, I believe, all over the track there.
It was, yes, some sort of bollard someone took out.
Oops. Well, these things do tend to happen. Potentially more motion in the back as well. I'm seeing a couple of drivers up 2 or 3/10 in the P5 to P7 positions.
Let's check out Ron Flo, who's 3.5 tenths up.
Final bend, looking pretty good. Again, with some positions to gain here. They might just have P3. No, it'll be P4.
Wow, that was close.
Have that. What in the world happened there?
Time is up and making way for the gold drivers. See, Morrison's still on a lap here.
He's going off the track there and making space, as you mentioned, for the gold drivers. Morrison is still finding time, surely not nearly enough to match Christian Lorenzo with a mighty 123.8.
24.2 is a very respectable time there.
It is, yes. But I mean, at this stage, of course, the gold driver's going, you want to find as much time as you possibly can. Looks like Morrison has bailed out of their lap. So they will finish with that 124.2, as you mentioned, very respectable. Certainly no problems with that. We'll get the gold drivers' times coming up on the board before too long here. They're still on the out laps at the moment, but if we take a look here, what we've got, Christian Lorenzo with a 4/10 gap to P2. Gotta say, fairly impressive.
Yeah, 23.8, I think that might be in the mix for pole.
I have to agree. Has the best sector 1, best sector 2 as well. If I'm reading this correctly, of course I could be entirely wrong. I tend to do that a couple of times a race at least.
Well, the problem is I'm not seeing a purple sector 3, so I don't know if...
yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I'm guessing Lorenzo maybe set a purple sector 3, but it wasn't on the best lap.
Maybe.
That's my guess.
I'm seeing some deltas on my screen right now, even though it's the first lap of the qualifying session. Perhaps it's practice laps. If that is the case, it's not looking very good for the gold drivers so far. Only a couple of them are even in the green, but that may be just because of the track evolution. I believe when I saw the practice session actually starting, the track temperature was 26 degrees at 2 in the morning in sim time. So I was a bit surprised to see that.
I think that might have been a little glitched. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be around 16 track and ambient.
Yeah, it surely is. Or it surely was for the practice race on qualifying. So a bit of a moment there for White's Carver out of the last turn, but there's loads more time in the session. First lap for the gold drivers on the board. It's White's Carver with a 124.9.
Mike Gino already going P3 overall.
124. I was going to say Austin Weisgarver 124.9. That was exactly, you know, a tenth off of what Lorenzo did on their first lap, but then Gino just ruins it. Who's looking for their third race win in a row at this point, so a pole position would just be the cherry on top. I'm looking for a return to form from Rodriguez. 124.88 right now in 11th place. So I'm going to keep my eye on that for some updates as we get another lap with them right now through the infield.
Yeah, Eduardo was up big through the first couple corners, but seemed to lose a lot there through 3 and then through 4.
Got a little bit of better traction on the exit, though, I think. I'm seeing Boonstra about a second ahead right now, so some improvements coming her way.
Let's check
We
in.
talked limitedly,
Almost 7
about the potential for the pace, and yeah, it looks like it's working for them quite well. It's going to be fast right-hander braking a little bit before that second brake reference.
That might have
Just a little
been
bit wide.
validated. I think she just kept it in.
I think, yeah, the matting on the outside is the racing line, generally speaking. I think a little bit of time might have been lost. You know, maybe a slight lift off the throttle just to make sure it stayed inside.
I think Selena cut too much on turn 8 there, or turn 7 on the inside.
She's still pushing for it, though. Even if it is an invalid lap, it's still an impressive one.
Yeah, if that would have been a valid lap, that would have been up there with Lorenzo.
We'll still see. It might just be. No, it was an invalid lap. You're correct. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Yep, but Selena knows she can do it, so now just gotta do it again.
Rodriguez up 4 tenths just now.
I was looking for Volkowitz, but then he set a lap and moved on me when I clicked.
Oh no. This motion in the
Man, there's a lot of green.
a lot of improvements. There's a lot of improvements going on.
Let's go with Katie Smith for a second. Oh, and as soon as we go, dip the tire into the grass. Are we a curse tonight? We might be.
Cursed, I guess. Let's see if we can curse Mike Gino, who's up 3 tenths on their lap right about now. Well, I believe he's coming out of the outfield right about now, gaining a lot of time.
Right behind Austin, I believe.
Themselves is up about 5 tenths, looking for a big improvement. Cockcroft gone off in the background, but let's keep our focus on the laps at hand right about now. Mike Gino on to provisional pole by 3 tenths, and then a little bit of change after that. Weisgarver only into P11. What happened? Wait, what happened with Weisgarver? Was that an invalid lap? I didn't see any movement at all.
It might have been.
Speaking of invalid laps, Boonstra, who invalidated last lap, up a 2nd and 600ths as she goes over the line into P2. That is impressive.
Again, I go to click and then someone moves on me. You guys gotta stop doing this. Slow down.
Slow down. That's always something you want to hear as a racing driver.
Let's check in on Matthew Harold, who, if I remember correctly, won the opening race at the Hungaroring and then has not raced since and is back tonight. So good to see him back.
Yeah, won the race at the Hungaroring. Wolkowitz was our winner at Olton Park, who's currently sitting in P15 right now as well. So strong qualifying performance from these racers would be something of a welcome mix-up, I think, to the formula, so to speak. We'll just have to see how things go. 3 minutes remain, so you've got about 2 hot laps if you're crossing the line in the next 10 seconds or so. It looks like there are a couple of cars who are on their way right now, so they'll have a little bit of extra time if they play their cards correctly. Not sure if they'll have the fuel load for it. Probably Toddy.
Yeah, on a really good lap right now.
Had an impressive qualifying in Valencia last week, but was not able to convert it.
Yeah, had some bad luck if I remember correctly. I think got rear-ended into turn 1. Oh, I think that was too wide. Nope, that stayed valid.
I think that stays valid.
Lost a little bit of time, but still in the green.
And they've got 1 more lap to go. Granted, they've got the fuel for it. Harold is also up by a lot. Fisher's up by a lot. There's just improvements across the board. If you can think of their name, they're probably improving right now. Fisher right now 6 tenths up into the final bend. McLaren a bit lethargic through there.
This will get up into the top 5, I think. 6.
Ooh, not quite.
2 thousandths off.
Right behind Harold. Yeah, by 2 thousandths. That surely is close. I think it's kind of what we expected out of Brands Hatch. Austin Weiscarver is improving. 4 tenths on the board right now. Eduardo Rodriguez actually 2 tenths up on their time as well, looking to move into P2, maybe even P1 if they can pull it together in the last little bit of the lap. Developments right down to the very wire here. Austin Weiscarver onto the final straight and gaining a lot of time in the traction zone, about a 10th at that as they move up to the line. That should get massive improvement for them. They go up into 9th from 17.
Yeah, that's a lot of position gain. I'm sure it's not where Austin wants to be, but...
Rodriguez on pole now.
Wow. 23-4. Fantastic lap. Oh, wow.
Let's get on board with Gino.
Yeah.
Let's get on board with Gino.
Let's do that.
Who's trying to respond right behind Austin Weiscarver in front. If you see Austin keep that gap, by the way, that's going to be a mighty improvement for him as well.
Yeah.
I noticed you tried to move on to that cam, and that was a good choice. He's up about...
Oh, Austin went wide there, though.
Yeah.
Oh. How lucky for us we can watch two quick drivers at the same time.
Mike Gino needs to save about 900ths in order to take back pole position. Eduardo Rodriguez, I believe, is in the pits, so they will not have a chance to respond to a time set by Gino here. They're up exactly 900ths and just some change right now. They've got to just keep it clean for the rest of this lap. A little bit of a wobble there over the curb, and that was a lot of time lost for them. They're in the red for a moment. They've got to pull it together here.
Gino was pushing for it all there, and unfortunately just a little too wide.
They have it in the traction zone here. No, it's going further and further into the red. It's going to be Rodriguez on pole unless somebody else can steal it away. And I don't see any more significant improvements in the background. I see Matt Harold is up about 2 tenths on their time, which would advance them potentially if they could save a little bit more into the top 5, maybe even the top 4 here.
Ooh. Man, getting up on the curb, that took a little bit of time. It took about a 10th, but a really good exit there out of the last corner.
2.5 tenths. Will it be enough? I think it just might be. They're trying to stay as much to the inside, reduce the distance, and they're into P4 ahead of Lorenzo by 300ths of a second. Mighty performance.
KB Smith. Oh, invalidated it.
Oh.
Fisher still coming across the line. And I think that is our last driver.
Mike says this is his track, says Bailey in the chat, and I would trust Bailey to know, but simultaneously out-qualified by rival Eduardo Rodriguez. The Mercedes and the Porsche both seem to be reasonably strong in a straight line on this circuit, so that should hopefully be an interesting battle. At the top, Selena Boonstra, though, qualifying P3 as well. That is a mighty performance on her part. So I have to say, I am terribly impressed with the qualifying that we got here. It was very exciting from start to finish.
I mean, there was action all over the place. I mean, we couldn't. I don't think we captured half of it, but man, that was fantastic qualifying from our drivers.
Sure was. We'll get a little bit of a look here now at the starting grid. It's going to be sunny here at 6 a.m. for the race start, so do apologize if we get a little bit of that in your eyes. It might be slightly challenging to see, and it will be challenging for the racers as well. Coming through Paddock Hill Bend, I'm sure they're going to be having a heck of a time trying to get eyes on the road. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a moment to say a huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at the Sim Racing Alliance, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favorite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. Something else worth noting for this race, it is going to be mandatory 25-second pit stop with, I believe you have to take 1 liter of fuel. Tires are not mandatory, but an extra 5 seconds for a little bit of added performance, I have to say, Adam. It feels like it's probably going to be worth the risk for a lot of drivers. Unless they really, really need that track position, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of mid-race pitters moving on to a fresh set of dries as the race progresses, and who knows how that'll shake things up, surely.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who does what and how that works. Personally, I would be leaning towards no tires, just because track position here is so important. It's so hard to pass. But at the same time, if you're in a car like the Porsche that goes through its tires a little bit quicker than other cars, you might be thinking, I push hard for 30 minutes, I get another set of tires, then I push hard again.
Yep.
So it'll be very interesting to see how our drivers decide to go on that.
Right, and I don't know if you were in the practice race. Did you happen to do the practice race or no?
I did not. I was probably sleeping on my couch because I'm an old man.
Hey, well, I mean, what's a little bit of sleep? It's good. Make sure you get 8 hours a day, everybody. That's the SRA top tip of the day. Nothing to do with driving. Well, kind of to do with driving, because if you don't get 8 hours of sleep, you're probably going to not be very good at driving. But I think during the practice race, one of the strategies that was tossed around is you can start with a lighter load of fuel. So if you take the 25-second mandatory pit stop, you can load up as much fuel as you can get in 25 seconds without any time lost, but you stand to gain time by having that less fuel on the straights, a little bit of less weight transfer in the corner, so you might get a little bit less wear on your outside tire, depending. I mean, this seems to be a pretty balanced track in terms of the direction of the corners, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. But simultaneously, for me personally, I was running with the McLaren Evo, the GT3 Evo, and I did find that after about 30 minutes of racing, I did not take tires during the mandatory pit stop in the practice race, and I started to suffer a little bit with my front bite, which was a big problem through Paddock Hill. You can't get on the power as early. It's going to cost you a lot of lap time, so I feel like that 5 seconds might be fairly easy to make up, and I do feel like there might be a variety of strategies here. Mike Gino, as we noted in the last 2 races, kind of ran in Suzuka. It was an early pit as soon as possible, pretty much, into clean air. They just took it from there. In Valencia, it was as late as possible, front run as much as you possibly can, get those blue flags out of the way, and they took the win. So this might introduce a new element to this race.
Yeah, if he's gonna go for 3 in a row, let's see him do it in style. Let's take tires and let's blitz the field.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't know. Blame me in the chat if you will. I don't know on race control how to see the pit delta, so we'll work with that.
I will get that information before we start seeing pit stops, hopefully. I should have that handy before the race starts and not have to find it as we're getting going, but hey,
it's whatever.
We have a hectic start.
We'll be in double file here before too long. Once again, Eduardo Rodriguez not present at the race in Valencia, and so no chance to challenge Mike Gino for that P1 spot during that race. And they had a fairly good outing in Suzuka as well, so I'm excited to see them leading on pole.
Yeah, Rodriguez, who we accidentally roasted during last week's race for not racing, who was their new wheelbase was stuck in customs, and luckily Eduardo has it back.
Well, it appears to be working well for them. As we move down towards the start line, you can see the starting order on the left side of your screen. Austin Weiscarver, Jess Osborne, both going to be looking to make inroads. Wolkowitz as well. And near the back, Ron Flo had a fairly good qualifying, as well as Sacombe. Barker may have to defend. Robbie Toddy going to be looking to move forward. Lots of stories here. Curtis Adams in 23rd place, somewhere we would not have expected here at the start of the race at Brands Hatch. As we get rolling at full race speed, Rodriguez is going to have a pretty good jump here against Mike Gino. Boonstra going to potentially look down the inside, but does have to give that space. And it looks like the top 3 will remain the same through T1.
That was a great jump by Rodriguez. Just not even bothered at all in turns 1 and 2.
Looks like it's been a fairly clean one at that. Not a whole lot of movement unless I missed something. As racers take as much curb on the exit as they possibly can. We moved into single file fairly quickly there. I don't see a whole lot of attempts at a pass besides this one. It's Christian Lorenzo on the inside of Selena Boonstra, and they will just about get it done here near the back straight.
Oh, they're going to be side by side going into the next corner.
More speed, that Porsche. The balance performance here, it's a difference of 50 kilograms of weight, but Lorenzo with the faster line on the outside feels like they should have a little bit more of an advantage. Contact's made. They both keep it on the track, but you can see they're both fighting for this one as hard as possible. Lorenzo a little bit wide there, but they will keep it on the course.
Track position's so important. Neither one of them wanted to give that one up. And nothing wrong with a little door bang. No harm, no foul.
Serves not, like I said, being able to keep it on track is impressive. Maxwell further on in the background got a position against KB Smith. So a little bit of movement here on lap 1, and I will say it's not necessarily unwelcome. A little bit of action will never hurt anyone.
No, not the most action-packed lap 1 we've seen, but everyone threw clean. That's very well done by all racers.
Maxwell actually got past Fisher, too. Up 2 positions. They do have to defend here. Huge contact. Maxwell gets pushed around, and that's going to slow the rest of the field as well.
Oh, and then gets hit again.
That looks like it's going to be some massive damage for Maxwell.
Oh, look at the front end of that car. It is ruined.
See if I can get a replay on that one here for the picture-in-picture of Maxwell taking that one through Druids, trying to defend that position like a lion, and ends up having a bit of a ruined race. Here, as you can see on the inside, just a little bit of contact from behind the 68, and there's not really a whole lot they can do about this one.
Yeah, so unfortunate. That's you really hate to see that.
Going to be a recovery drive for them. They could get the mandatory pit out of the way with damage.
That is the good news with the long pit window.
True. But that begs the question, though, what was their strategy? Because as we discussed, you know, you could take fuel, you could take tires, but now if you have a lot of time for damage, you might want to try to preserve that. Dempler's gone off as well. We'll get that one on PIP, as it looks like they're going to lose a handful of positions in the back, and their race is going to be severely compromised for this as well. In the outfield, I believe that was just turn 7 that caught them off guard. I could be wrong on this one. Oh my goodness.
Yep, just carried too much speed. Oh, that's a big hit.
Can't quite get the Porsche back under control. It's famed for that. If I'm not mistaken, did I see another car was caught up in that? I didn't see 2 yellows on my screen.
It was very close. I don't believe anyone else was caught up in that.
Old Morrison, I think, just had a big moment. I was taking a PIP for them in Druids, but I think they might have got a tap from behind. Oh no, they got hit at Druids, and then I don't think you're going to see it on the replay, but yeah, they get ground there as well. Right as I went to go take the replay, I hit that second time, otherwise I would have held off. An unfortunate moment there. Lots of door banging going on here, and again, it's Druids, the prime overtaking spot, action-packed surely, but in all the wrong ways it feels like so far.
Yeah, it's so easy because you can really take multiple lines through there, but if the car on the inside carries a little bit too much speed, then it's a danger. But yeah, in my opinion, it's the best place to overtake, so sometimes you just have to go for it, and yeah, it doesn't always come off.
Certainly going to be some stewarding tickets after today's race.
Tell you what, after that battle in the first lap, Rodriguez and Gino had checked out from Boomster a little bit, but she is clawing that gap down and trying to bring that down under a second.
Maxwell does dip into the pits now, so they're going to get this out of the way. Let's see if I can't get a little bit of an eye on what their time is for that.
Let me give you the pit information. So
we split it, actually. Why don't you do that?
The time loss for taking 1 second of fuel is 28 seconds, and that does not factor in the 25 seconds for sitting still. So we should be looking at the full time. So a 30-second stop, which would be taking tires, is a 55-second loss roughly. So if our drivers don't take tires, it'll be around 50 seconds. Either way, that's the better part of the lap around here. So pitting early is a danger. I do expect most drivers to pit around the halfway point.
Maxwell just now getting rolling. So it looks like the time hit from the damage, if they did repair it, was pretty bad.
I believe Maxwell probably fixed the damage.
It could have been fairly severe. I'm seeing that the best lap was a 135.6, which I believe they stayed out for at least a lap after the hit was made. They were able to rejoin safely, or resafe jointly, if that tickles your fancy. But Austin White's car, just a moment ago, setting tied actually for the best lap of the race. So trying to make some inroads here as they're up in P7 presently through the infield against Wolkowitz in front. Christian Lorenzo leads from then, and Matthew Harold, who we discussed, the winner at the Hungaroring, and until recently not present. We have an incident from Vincent in the back. So see if I can get some eyes on. Looks like it may have been an error out of Paddock Hill. But yeah, Matthew Harold making a bit of a climb back into relevance so far in this race.
Yeah, missed a few races and just hopped right back into the top 5.
It's not an error at Paddock Hill. Certainly not what I was expecting. A dive into Druids and contact was made. I'm not going to make any judgments on that one. I wasn't there with the onboard, but that's an unfortunate circumstance. Again, T2. It is just carnage at turn 2 today.
That's where the action's happening. Yeah, so we have most drivers spaced out, but we have a pretty sizable train formed behind Jess Osborne.
I was looking that way as well. With many drivers who have moved forward as a result of some incidents in front. Specifically, Riley Barker and Robbie Toddy benefiting from some problems there, as that blue flag will kindly move on out of the way in towards that apex. Slightly wide there from Toddy, but they should be safe from attack here. Again, with Druids being one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit, if you can make it through there by holding the car behind, then you should have a fairly clean rest of the lap. Granted, you make no significant mistakes.
Yeah, really, it's just a clean exit through this corner here, and you're just going to make it really hard for anyone to get past you.
Looks like Jess is starting to pull away a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, though. Smith still trying to close up that gap. One of the drivers who we mentioned is solo right now in a team series and doing fairly well for themselves. Having a not unimpressive race. Of course, they've had some better results. We're only looking, of course, at the first 8 minutes and some change of here, Brands Hatch. And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, that brake reference has been taken out at turn 8. That's going to cause some problems, I imagine, for a couple of drivers at the very least. It would surely cause problems for me.
I did see some tire marks that were going off into the barrier. Myself personally, I used that the orange painted part of the barrier as my brake reference instead of the board.
Oh, geez. I'm going to take a replay here for Taylor.
I did not like those noises that came out of your mouth. That sounded awful.
No. They spun on their own by the looks of it. Exit of turn 6, no. Entry turn 7, perhaps. You'll see it in the PIP.
Oh, too much on the
inside. But then,
that's the exact
keep an eye on it.
Oh,
because
no.
a rejoin, they try to rejoin the circuit and they get into the side of the course there. And I don't know who that was. But a significant hit. That's gotta, oh my goodness, that is gonna put a massive damper on not only on their race, but whoever it was they made contact with. They didn't get eyes on it.
Yep, now I fully understand what you were trying to vocalize there. That was very unfortunate. Looks like White's Carver starting to put the pressure on Wolkowitz. And Wolkowitz starting to put some pressure on Lorenzo.
This is really solid for White's Carver and Wolkowitz, respectively. White's Carver, if they were on the same team, this would be the ideal scenario. They are not, as a matter of fact. I believe it's White's Carver and Barker, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I could very well be. I am an incorrect man on a not insignificant basis.
I can cheat and let you know. Nope, it is Barker and Wolkowitz, their teammates.
There you go. This is why I make these disclaimers.
I cheated and I looked at the livery.
Sacombe had a yellow flag a little bit ago. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the replay.
Ooh, that's...
Here to the final corner. Looks like they're trying to get up on the inside. And, oh yeah. No, definitely some contact made there. They pushed the outside car wide. And maybe just a little bit too much commitment on that one. They go off. Sacombe had a relatively impressive qualifying for a driver who has not really been too much the highlights, too frequently I should say, the highlight of our races so far in this season. So hoping for a bit of a recovery drive from them personally. We could use a couple of more notable names. And speaking of, a bit of a train that has kind of reformed from 13th to 17th with Ron Flo Fisher as well as Felker.
Yeah, let's go hop into that, but I need to mention that Selena Boonstra has really closed up on Mike Gino.
That's true. Wolkowitz right up behind Lorenzo as well, with White Scarper Green down their back even. I feel like that's the fight I'm most focused on right now.
Let's go to
Things
that
are
one.
beginning to get heated.
Oh, they are nose to tail.
I'm going to take the wing cam here for Wolkowitz. Yeah, they are certainly getting right up the back. White's cover, slight moment. Just a little bit of loss of traction out of the exit of Druids, and I feel like that was probably going to be their last chance to try to make something happen here. And again, they're getting a little bit slidey, but they keep it under control. Maybe need to turn up that TC just a little bit. That matting, though, you feel like you should have a little bit of extra grip out there on the side, the outside of the curve.
Yeah, but if you take it just a little bit too far, that turns into grass really quickly. But yeah, it's so easy to just go that little bit wide around here, and you just gotta hope that you stay on the map. Oh, Wolkowitz wide! And White Carver's through.
Well, that's one way to get the move done. White Carver may have had a couple of moments, but he certainly didn't have anything to that degree, so he'll gladly say thank you and move on.
And now, I mean, there's
that train just a little bit.
Yeah, except for the huge train that is now formed behind them from now it's White Carver at the front all the way down to Barker in 11th.
That's actually a huge one as well.
The coach in chat, he said Widowitz. Good one, coach.
I'm also looking right now, looks like some drivers starting to close up in the battle from 13th down to 17th. Sacombe very close up behind Felker. Right now on the pitch straight, as well as Fisher, Felker, and Ron Flo all trying to make inroads. I mean, Robbie Toddy and Barker, I don't mean to exclude them from my attention either. They're, of course, making some amazing progress through the midfield. I feel like right now, if this circuit was a little bit wider, there would be a whole lot more motion than there is right now.
Man, yeah, I mean, we have two really big trains forming up. The first one looks like it's breaking up a little bit, but then you have the top three who have just checked out, and then Harold and P4 who's kind of no man's land, and then Lorenzo, Weiss Carver, Wolkowitz, Osborne, Smith, Toddy, Barker all on a train. I mean, whew.
Taking a stop Felker right now. Oh, goodness. The fast right-hander defining the start of the outfield section right now, populated by three cars, very closely packed up. Three different ones at that, a McLaren, followed by a Mercedes, followed by a BMW. I feel like Fisher right now is having a bit of a challenging time keeping those two other drivers behind. So lots of developments being made. I still see Gino is within 1 second of Rodriguez, Selena Boonstra about a second behind that, and she was gaining a little bit of time. I don't think it was a significant moment there for Gino, but it certainly lost a little bit. I want to get back on board with that fight. Sullivan right now defending from Flo. Again, on the pit straight. This is about as close as you can possibly get cars without banging into each other.
Yeah, I wonder, I know a lot of these drivers are going to be looking to at least make it to the halfway point, but I wonder if some are thinking no tires and let's pit and get out of this traffic and get into some clean air. Cockcroft goes a little bit wide, but it's A-okay.
Innocuous. Something else, you know, White Carver, after getting past Wolkowitz earlier, is now up 3 tenths behind Christian Lorenzo, who seems to be struggling a little bit for pace despite the mountainous qualifying that they had. I see oh my god, a big yell, a big moment for Stefani in the back. We'll take on board with that and see what exactly it was that happened here. Maybe, just getting a little bit wide onto that grass, past the matting, and straight into the barrier. Perpendicular meeting with Barrier.
That'll be a lot of damage to fix. That was a big hit.
Got a yellow for Adams as well. Not sure what exactly went on with this one, but I'll take it just in case there was a big moment. I think it was some time loss, but losing the rear just a little bit and slightly more than a little bit. Does keep it pointing somewhat in the right direction, so no harm, no foul there.
And kept it out of the wall, though.
their tires might not be too happy about that when they surprisingly didn't lose any position.
Oh, Whitescarver's going to go for it on the inside here.
That's a good spot to do it.
I think he's got it done. Wolkowitz is going to get in the mix too.
That inside line carries so much more speed. You can get the power down earlier. You straighten out that car, and surely there's no way that Whitescarver is going to cede this position in the outfield. Well, we've seen. Sorry, I should maybe not get too aggressive with that statement. We've seen a couple of wobbly moments on the matting so far from that BMW, but it looks like they're already getting headed. No! Oh, Rodriguez is off the track. Rodriguez completely facing the wrong way for a moment there. In the outfield section on the Porsche, getting a little bit too wide on the matting, maybe? We'll take a look here.
Oh,
too much speed.
I think he dipped the left tires just onto the grass on entry there and just couldn't brake. Oh, man.
That hurts. That really hurts.
Only dropped a P4, though, so... Oh, and Whitescarver's maybe going to slide through as well. Oh, no.
Yeah, oh, my goodness. That hurts so bad.
That's a horror lap for Rodriguez there. 2nd to 7th. Oh, you hate
and the miraculous one for Whitescarver. I mean, you got past Lorenzo,
yeah.
And now you're past Rodriguez with clean air for 6 seconds in front of you. He's clearly demonstrated that he's got solid pace, so he might be challenging for a podium before too long.
And up 8 positions, up from 12th to 4th. I mean, that's an incredible race by Whitescarver so far.
Phenomenal drive. I mean, we just saw another little wobble there out of T4, but I'm not terribly concerned.
Osborne's going to take a shot at Rodriguez now.
Rodriguez's tires must just be absolutely cooked
this
at point.
Yeah, I think he's got to pit this lap and change tires. He really looks to be struggling.
Even behind, he's already looking to KB Smith, who did have a nominal qualifying pace.
Thank you, Raph, in the chat. He said White's carving his way through the field. Very good, very good.
Somebody get this man. Why are we here?
Yeah, well, he's tomorrow. He's on tomorrow's broadcast, and he's gonna always do a fantastic job. Raph is fantastic in the booth.
I just caught the 877. Dean Stefani got a a stop-go 30.
Ooh, that'll be speeding the pit lane.
I think they might dip out of this race. They've already had a big incident earlier on. They might have been going in to repair the damage. They've returned to the pit lane.
Fisher pitted and came out in front of Whitescarver and closed that gap up with Lorenzo and Wolkowitz gave Lorenzo a little tap in the rear.
Didn't catch that.
Yeah, let's take that.
Rodriguez is in the pits, by the way.
Yeah.
So something worth noting.
Yep, that seemed like the right call.
Fisher, Druids.
Bonk.
Oh, gosh.
Just a little bonk.
Hey, way to keep it on the road, though.
Yeah.
Wolkowitz will surely be happy that didn't turn into a little bit more, because that would have been probably a couple of penalty points coming your way if that had gone slightly more wrong. It looks like Rodriguez now exiting the pits, so not a huge delta for them. I believe they had 0 damage, but almost certainly taking tires, so we'll see them out for the remainder of the race. Their best lap, a 124 flat in comparison to Gino's 123.8. I believe they're second right now on the raw lap timing, so we'll see if Rodriguez can make a bit of a recovery drive here. They've got some clean air in front, 15 seconds, and it looks like no blue flags going up behind.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really important for Rodriguez to try and make these positions back. It's certainly not impossible. If we're thinking people are pitting at the halfway point, he's got 9 minutes to push like mad.
It looks like Lorenzo lost a position there to Wolkowitz in the Druids corner. I think it was more the exit of Paddock Hill, maybe going a little bit wide there. I talked about how front bite starts to fall away on the McLaren a little bit, and we could be getting into that territory with 21 minutes of this race having expired.
Oh, Lorenzo with a little snap oversteer there on the corner exit.
Maybe it's not just the fronts.
Osborne's
they are going to lose that position
going
almost
through.
surely. Yeah, again, that poor straight line speed. Ooh, they're getting a little bit close there. Lorenzo trying to keep it as well, you know, foot in as much as you possibly can, but I feel like they're going to continue to drop through the field here a little bit as there's a Mercedes coming up behind, which has been fairly quick in the straight line so far on Brands Hatch.
Yeah, Jeff's on the move as well, up 5 positions.
I just saw Hawcroft's moving down a couple of spots. I'm going to drop back 22 seconds and see.
I just went back and grabbed it.
A wide moment, it looks to be.
I think we maybe missed the beginning of that.
But it looks like it was just a wide moment at the hairpin turn 4, if I'm correct on that one, which I, again, very well may not be. I'm very bad at being correct in general.
Oh, second with a snap as well. Just pushing like crazy to try to get past Ron Flo.
We'll have to keep an eye on this one. Christian Lorenzo and Ron Flo right now.
You want to pull that up on picture-in-picture?
Let's get a wing cam here from Lorenzo, because it seems like they are severely coming under attack from Robbie Totti, who these are both drivers that have impressed in the last couple of races. So I'm certainly not surprised to see this as a battle for 7th place right about now. Jess Osborne in front of this little train has about a second and a half. And that Mercedes, like I said, so quick in a straight line. You can see getting right up behind Lorenzo. I mean,
just trying to read what's on the back of the car.
It feels like, Robbie Totti right about now probably not so happy being stuck behind this car, which, I mean, for all intents and purposes, looks to be a little bit slower in terms of pace. Whoa! Straight, Robbie Totti, that was a little bit dire, almost being challenged around the outside. That's going to give a lot of breathing room to Lorenzo. I'm going to take a look now. It looks like Wicks has had a moment in the back, a yellow flag there. So I'll take us back in the PIP.
Oh, Sullivan has a spin.
It's just disaster after disaster here on Brands Hatch. Hopefully, for their sake, they're able to rejoin.
Oh,
goodness. Wicks bumped in the back. Oh, dear.
Man.
It is certainly just havoc this race.
Yeah, I think people are just trying to make up positions while they feel like they can. Maybe the people that know they're going to take tires are being a little bit more aggressive, and yeah, we've got some real battling going on.
Totti just gained a lot of time on Lorenzo. Out of turn 3 it was, I believe Lorenzo may have had a little bit of a loss of traction or something to that effect. We have Sullivan in the pits right now, the 711. Coming out at 18th position, Vincent also, who just went off track as I mentioned, I believe coming off in 19th place into the pits, so they're going to get that out of the way for themselves. Leaves Rodriguez with a little bit more open air in front, but already Totti has closed up to the back of Lorenzo again. It looks like they're going to be driving a fairly defensive race for the remainder of the evening.
Yeah, from seeing Lorenzo drop down like this, I feel like they're got to be thinking tires.
Yeah. It only solidifies my stance on the matter. As I mentioned before the race started, I feel like tires is the correct call, at least for the McLaren runners. So
it'll be really interesting to maybe after we do our post-race interviews and see what our front runners did, see which way they went.
Totti's taking a lot of that curve there on the exit. And of course, that really is the line, but if you get out onto that gravel, well, I don't need to tell you what kind of issues that can have. Using all the matting on the left-hand side there on the exit of Druids, and it looks like he might be getting a little bit too aggressive with how much of that he's taken. Sakoma's a yellow flag in the back, and it looks like they're dropping down quite a few positions. They're in the barrier. Exit of Paddock Hill by the looks of things. We'll take that on the PIP and see what happens.
Well, that's going on. Smith and Wicks both are pitting. Just a little too.
Can't lead off the speed either. No point in putting steering in, but once you get into the gravel, it's just not going to work.
No.
Getting on the brakes. Thanks. I believe that was. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. I've already forgotten who that was. But they're probably going to dip into the pits if they hadn't already taken their pit stop before them. Let's get back on board with the battle, though. Potential move to the inside. No, thought he thinks better of it. Maybe trying to get a better exit here onto the pit straight. But there's just not enough time, it feels like. Even if you do get a better exit, even if you're in a car that's faster in a straight line, unless the racer in front of you makes a mistake, you are not well, most of the time, going to risk a move into Paddock Hill. You might have to run on Druids, though.
White's Carver into the pits as well. I think that'll be our trial balloon to kind of see where Austin comes out in relation to the drivers that have already pitted.
Surely keep an eye on it. Right now, this is the big battle. I'm seeing a lot of white time deltas for the remainder of the field, which, if you're not familiar with race control, means that the gap is 1 second or more between the two racers in question. Right now, I think Toddy is also kind of in a compromised position because it can't go too aggressive on this attack, because if you do, Barker is right behind, and you know that they're going to take advantage of it. BMW, more of a stable car, so if you do make a mistake, odds are they're going to be able to capitalize on it. Of course, I say more stable car. Ignore what Austin Whitescarver is doing. I'm almost certain that he's running an aggressive, very aggressive setup.
So Whitescarver came out about 7 seconds in front of Rodriguez, which I think that's a good sign for the drivers that haven't pitted so far. But if we do think that Rodriguez took tires, that's a much smaller gap. Then, yeah, we'll see. I don't believe Austin took tires, but I can't do that math in my head, so.
Math is hard.
It is hard.
We don't like math. Caster math. Ooh, that's Toddy into the pits.
Yep, Robbie Toddy into the pits.
He's fed up.
Yeah, he said, I'm done with this. I'm getting out of here.
I don't blame him for that. Actually, I don't know if everybody else has noticed on the picture-in-picture, but my race control is not giving me the correct blank overlay, so my apologies if that's getting a little bit in the way. There's not really a whole lot I seem to be able to do that, so bear with me on that.
If you go into the game, hit escape, and then click drive, it'll take it away.
Magic. Look at that.
Bingo,
This is why you're here. You know.
Well, it's because I have to do that between all the sessions, or
aside from all the other reasons.
We're showing how the sausage gets made a little bit tonight.
Oop, KB Smith has gone round by the looks of things.
Oh, no, that's not good.
I'll take that back 22 seconds on my end and see what it is that happened here in the outfield section. Again, not surprised. This is where we're seeing most of the incidents. This looks like a turn 8 problem. Not getting that inside rotation. Oh, maybe a little bit too eager on the power, as we see a little bit of lack of tires on both ends of that vehicle.
Yep.
Heavy damage there into the pits. Oh no.
And KB Smith had already pitted as well. Barker into the pits.
Gino into the pits. Harold into the pits.
Oh, yep, we missed Gino into the pits. So Booster takes over the lead. I wonder if...
Keep an eye on Gino.
Yeah.
See where they come out.
I think where Whitescarver comes out, I think that's going to be the most telling thing.
Flo's also into the pits now.
Yeah, right
Gino,
around the halfway mark.
Mike Gino is not yet rolling. It looks like their car has just been released. They're coming out. Looks like they'll have a little bit of space behind, so no blue flags. And Mike Gino with about a 12-second gap in front, so just going to be free to run laps again.
Yeah, I think that's... I'm not sure how far Austin was behind when he pitted, but I think that gap seems about right. I wonder if Gino didn't take tires. Again, this is where hopefully things we'll find out after the race.
Smith's still not out of the pits. I'm assuming that's going to be the end of their race. Significant incident. Boonstra coming into the pit lane now. So did not care to front run for very long by the sounds of things. But you mentioned at the beginning, before the race began, that the Porsche was probably going to eat through those tires. So again, about the halfway point through the race. In fact, we are arriving there in just 2 seconds time. So I'm not necessarily surprised to see this. Their teammate, however, will stay out. That's Osborne moving into second place at present standing.
Yeah, I do wonder if some of these drivers that haven't pitted are maybe thinking no tires, so they're going to go late into the race like they would under the normal pit limitations. So I think that'll be something to keep an eye on.
Getting on board here, the battle between Toddy and Rodriguez. I've got the wing cam for Toddy on my screen. So it looks like they did struggle to keep that Mercedes on the track only a moment ago. Booster is now exiting the pits about 1.5 seconds behind Mike Gino, so right where they left off, just about.
So, however they both seem to have gone the same way as far as tires go. And yeah, I believe that leaves us only with the top 4 that haven't pitted. Everyone else has completed their pit requirement.
Well, that'll move up the inside there is Eduardo Rodriguez, who is currently on a recovery drive from pole position, currently sitting in 10th place. This is a direct one-to-one battle for position right now. And I'm sure Rodriguez, with, I believe, still the second fastest lap of the race in sum total, would be more than happy to get out in front of Toddy right now. The more they're held behind this Mercedes, that's just all the more time they're going to lose to everybody in front. There's still a long way to go in this race. So if you get stuck behind for 5 or so laps, that's going to be a load of time lost.
Yeah, and now Wolkowitz has gone into the pits. So that just leaves us with Osborne, Lorenzo, and Coffin.
Oh, my
And
goodness,
Rodriguez
did I miss that?
No, Rodriguez got by. Let's.
I'm going to go back 15 seconds because I believe Toddy went off as I was changing cams onto the
We
bottom
did
cam.
the same thing. Oh, Toddy a little wide.
Well, asking ye shall receive.
Yeah. And then Wolkowitz comes out, at least behind Weiscarver, probably behind Harold as well. But maybe, yep, but out in front of Rodriguez. Let's go back to Fisher, who is trying to chase down Hacksaw.
That was quite deep there. Rodriguez now completely entrenched in a battle here, if I'm not mistaken. Did I just see something incorrectly? It looked like Druids had a bit of a moment there for somebody, even though it went deep. But we'll just get back on board here with Scott Fisher. As you mentioned, he's right up behind Hacksaw at the moment, a driver we haven't said the name of pretty much all night, but who has been a consistent midfield performer so far this season.
Yeah, and right now, putting themselves in a very good position for good points tonight.
A little bit deep there at Druids. Fisher, having fulfilled their pit stop right about now, they're probably going to be on the stronger part of this stint. We talk about how tires seem to be a quality play call for pretty much anybody, at least in the McLaren and the Porsche, as far as we know, and I'm assuming for just about every driver on the field. The pace advantage you get from pitting out is going to be strong, but being able to make use of all that tire, all that bite that you'll get in those fronts and the traction in the rears from that fresh set, you're going to want to burn that as soon as possible if you want to get past, but you know, you won't have much for later. Hacksaw actually losing a lot of time there in turn 5.
So you're going to love this. This is fantastic.
What am I?
And we're going to have to use this going forward. We can see the time spent in the pits in race control. So I will tell you right now.
Yes. Tell me.
It's looking like most people took tires. It looks like Robbie Toddy did not. Barker maybe did not. But it looks like everyone else, Weiscarver maybe did not, but everyone else is at least at 55 seconds, which was our 30-second time taking tires, which is a 30-second pit stop regardless. So yeah, the only drivers, Lorenzo's in the pits. The only drivers under 55 seconds right now are Weiscarver, Rodriguez, and Barker. Everyone else, it looks like, has taken tires.
I feel like it's going to come back to bite Toddy.
We'll see. Track position is so important. So
it is. Right now, if you add 5 seconds to Toddy's time, they're only behind Barker. In that Mercedes, depending on the setup, that could be a little bit rear limited. I see a yellow flag in the background. Taylor's gone off. They're the wrong way, at the very least. So I'll get some eyes on that.
So, and right now, Lorenzo is taking tires. They're right at 55 seconds.
Just tipped that rear left onto the grass and completely lost it.
It's so easy to do around this track. And where does that? Lorenzo comes out behind Parker in P11. Man, that's a lot of positions lost. Down
It is
6 from the
Lorenzo.
start.
I'm looking at it. Lorenzo's best lap time is about 2.5 tenths slower than what Toddy has put down so far, who again is behind Rodriguez, who's 2 tenths roughly faster than Toddy. So Lorenzo right now probably going to be looking to hold position unless something amazing comes up, or maybe they're going to have a massive push here. Like I said, the McLaren, he's rather competitive on a fresh set of tires here with 24 minutes in the race. You've got a little bit fresher rubber than many of the other competitors in the field. Toddy maybe going a little bit wide there, but still keeps it well under control.
Yeah, not falling too far off the back of Rodriguez, but Rodriguez is starting to build a little bit of a gap.
Must reiterate that I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Not taking tires, I feel like, was a very aggressive play call.
I will say on the last lap, and we'll get an update because we're about to cross the line, Barker was half a second faster than Toddy on the last lap.
Smith had a yellow flag.
And another half second. But again, half second is really not a big enough of a delta to really set up a good overtake around here.
Absolutely not. You need to be right up behind the car in front of you. Coming really realistically out of Pat Kill or out of turn 3. That's your best bet by far. It did look like Smith's yellow flag was simply letting some blue flags behind, but so good courtesy there. Maybe a little bit overzealous on doing so, but hey, I'd rather a little bit overzealous than underzealous. Let's take a look here. Sullivan right up behind Fisher and almost back made. I talked about getting the run out of Paddock Hill, and certainly T1 was a bit of an aggressive take there.
No, that's not the ideal run out of that corner. But they all made it through, so everything's okay. Jess Osborne is in the pits.
Which I believe is going to become one of our last pitters, indeed. Yep, I'm noticing that.
Last one is Cockcroft. Looks like Osborne is taking tires.
I'm noticing as well right now, Pat Cockcroft is not... Oh! My God.
Let's run that back.
Sullivan got collected by that too.
Yeah, I don't know if Sullivan tapped Fisher. Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, so made the tap and then ran it off a little bit as well.
Yeah, so Jess Osborne's pit time is 53 seconds, so I don't think Jess took tires.
Again, aggressive. Rodriguez is in the pits again. They had fulfilled their mandatory pit stop, no?
A yellow flag from... Oh, Harold's in the barrier.
Run that back. Meantime, I'm noticing Mike Gino right now up behind, or was up behind Pat Cockcroft, who I think yielded just a moment ago. Yeah, he was in the rear end of that Mercedes.
Yep, just carried too much speed.
So Cockcroft into the pits now. Yes.
Now.
Sorry. I thought I clicked onto the wrong car for a second because I hadn't seen his livery all race long, and I was like, oh, no, that's Rodriguez. He's in the pits. Nope, that's definitely Cockcroft. Mike Gino and Boonstra both moved past. Gino was held up temporarily. It was actually a 3-second gap to Boonstra behind before running into the back of Cockcroft and lost a second of that delta to Selena. So that is actually quite big. It was then for position, technically, not under blue flag conditions. So Cockcroft absolutely no obligation to move over from Mike Gino. I believe they did in the end anyway, but still, it's going to close up that battle for first.
Yeah, the only obligation you have to move over is if you have pitted and you're being lapped by someone. If you have not pitted and it's for position, you don't have to move over. A lot of drivers do because at that point it's not your fight, and
Exactly. No point in losing the time.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, and through all of this, through all of the pits, they're, for their standards, not great qualifying. Austin Weiscarver's up into P3.
Ooh, Cockcroft coming out. It's just going to lose out to Hacksaw, and now has Maxwell coming up behind, who's another driver who's had to recover a little bit after an incident earlier on in the race. Toddy and Barker still very, very close together. So a couple of battles going on right now. Toddy and Barker, I think, is the one I want to stick on for right now, because this has been an ongoing series of events throughout the race so far, with Barker currently sitting 5 tenths behind him. Once again, Toddy not taking tires here on a Mercedes that we believe has been suffering a little bit with that rear grip.
Yeah, But at this point, if you're Toddy, you just nail your every corner exit, and you're not going to be overtaken. You have to make a mistake, so you just got to keep it clean.
Maxwell's getting very close up to the back.
Yeah.
And Cockcroft in front.
Yeah, you have that in the picture-in-picture. Oh,
Indeed,
going for a
they're trying to
move.
go inside, thinking about it into T7, but that is the last place you want to commit for an overtake like that, so they will defer, but it looks like they might have a little bit more going out towards the pit straight.
This feels... I know after they pitted, Maxwell's down in last place and with the damage, so this feels like a very good recovery drive.
Indeed, Cockcroft got a little bit of a poor run there out of the last corner, a slight moment of oversteer, trying to take the wide line, forces the defense from the car in front. Now Maxwell maybe looking for a faux switchback on this one, but they will not have the run there. Trying to make an aggressive posture into the inside of Druids, but never was close enough, and Cockcroft knew it. Very intelligent driving from that racer in front to know exactly when to move over onto the defensive and when to return to the racing line.
So I'm just browsing through our big movers for the night, so highlight a few drivers. Again, White's cover up 9 positions from 12th to 3rd. That's incredible. Wolkowitz up 5 positions.
Vincent just drifting through turns 7 and 8 by looks of it. I'm going to take that back. That does not look... That didn't look correct there for a second, but you can see what I was talking about.
Just a little 4-wheel drift, no big deal. just showing off at this point.
You got a 42-second gap ahead and a 31-second gap behind. You may as well just have fun with it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, Wolkowitz up 5, Osborne up 6 positions, Toddy and Barker both up 7, Ron Flo up 6, Felker up 9, Hacksaw up 9, Cockcroft up 5, Curtis Adams up 8, and Vincent up 7. That's a lot of big movers.
Huge for Adams, who started in 23rd. That's a lot of points being gained by moving up those positions. And it just goes to show that consistency really is key. And Adams, if I'm looking at the times correctly, they might be able to close up to the back of the fight that we've been tracking here between Cockcroft, Maxwell, and Hacksaw, all 3 moving down into...
It's your livery, bud. Come on. We want to see that livery. It's not showing up for me. I'm seeing blank car. I want to see that Menards livery.
Ah, you're right. Yeah, it's just moving up there. Sullivan's closing up to the back.
We're both in the Midwest. We want to see that Menards livery.
Ooh, Barker's gotten past Toddy. I'll run that one back.
Yeah.
See if we can get that one on the can. Out onto the pit straight. It looks like Toddy might have gotten the lousy exit. They were very, very wide there.
Yep. I think you're spot on with that.
Barker gets through. No questions asked. Clean move.
Yep.
Still keeping track of this little train with Maxwell going on. Looking back towards the front, it's Boonstra still 2 seconds behind Mike Gino. Not really making a whole lot of progress there. They're both running fairly consistent laps.
Yeah,
White's Carver 14 seconds behind Boonstra as well.
Yeah, the gap between the top 2 is staying pretty stable. I think I've seen it around 2.4.
Maxwell very nearly going to the back of Cockcroft there, Druids. Oh, yikes.
Ooh, Harold a little wide. Yeah, not too many close battles. We have Cockcroft still harassing Hacksaw over P12.
Sullivan again behind Adams as well. Cockcroft is actually being very grateful for that space being granted because Maxwell's all up on the back of them until just recently.
Yeah.
So now they've got a little bit of leeway.
Exactly, by giving them a chance to maybe go for a couple moves that they maybe... Oh, Hacksaw's going wide. Oh, Cockcroft almost had a little snap oversteer there, but collected it.
I think they were trying to make sure they lifted off the... Oh, Maxwell! Oh, no! That's a wide moment from them as well. Exit turn 7.
Yeah.
So they're not even going to be able to capitalize on that mistake from Hacksaw in front. That's going to hurt for Maxwell.
A yellow from Harold. That was a really quick one.
I'll take that in the picture-in-picture just to see what it was.
Yeah, I think it was probably just a really quick off. Probably goes a little wide here at turn 3. Yep.
Looks like you got it.
Ooh, saved it. That's a good save. Very easy to go around there.
Excellent anticipation as well. You know you've run it a little bit wide. You know the car is going to start to let go. You lift off. You give it just a little bit of throttle, so that way you can keep the back somewhat stable. So I'm going to give credit there where credit's due. They made the mistake, but then, you know, they knew it was going to happen. They were prepared. Well done.
Boonstra's brought the gap down to 1.5 seconds up front.
They actually gained half a second in just the last lap alone, if I'm looking at this correctly. So maybe a mistake from Gino. I'll have to keep a close eye on that.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to go to Gino's cam now. Just to
24.0 to 24.6. Yeah.
24.6 is really slow for Mike.
And I'm going to assume that White's Carver had a not great lap result. He did 26.0, but that's maybe showing the delta between having taken tires and not taking tires.
He's only got a 2.5 second gap behind him. He's lost time to Boonstra ahead. Since last I checked, it's about 2 seconds now. It was 14 seconds prior, and now it's 16. So I'm just keeping an eye on Gino and the PIP. We'll watch and see if he has any moments of oversteer, because that's really the last thing he needs right about now. One single mistake, and Boonstra is going to be all over the back of you. There's still 12 minutes to go in this race, so lots of potential developments, and just about everybody still fighting for position. Sullivan still in the back, fighting for P15 against Curtis Adams at present, who again has had a mighty race.
Yeah, now we got well, not really a train. So yeah, when you called out against Rodriguez pitting twice, that you were correct on that, and yeah, running in P21 now, that's got to be really disappointing for Eduardo.
Must be a story behind that. I mean, after the first pit stop, I believe, was, you know, 10th, which certainly not a bad place to be. You can make inroads against the drivers in front. You know you've got the pace, and then pitting again must have been damaged.
Yeah, we must have I must have spin or maybe taken a little bit too much curb on the inside and just then getting into the barriers.
Disappointing no matter what way you look at it. White's Carver is going to have to worry about Walkowitz here before too long. Get a couple lap time.
6/10 on the last lap. And yeah, Gino, a good recovery lap there. Put the gap back up around low. Well, now it's bouncing up and down, it's holding around 1.5.
Seeing that. One to keep an eye on. Maxwell and Sullivan both with very, very low
Sullivan's going to get a run on Adams.
Surely got to make a stick. A little braver on the brakes and has loads more they could have gone for, it felt like.
Well done
really
by
maximizing the grip on that inside line.
Yeah,
well done.
and really well done from Adams there to not turn in on Sullivan and give racing room. Yeah, that was our closest gap, and
I think I just saw.
Yeah.
Looks like Maxwell got past Maxwell is what oh, that's a nice switchback. Through the turn 4 hairpin, down the back straight now. And surely it's going to be the place given over to Maxwell. As they tear down, he's got the outside line, going to be able to carry more speed through here. And of course, you do have to defer if you're that inside car. There's no way you're going to risk that on the inside line. And that will be a clean move.
Well done.
Saw a yellow flag for Rodriguez, and he's out of the race.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, you hate to see that.
Really do. Mike Gino's on an invalidated lap. If the red lap indicator is anything to be believed,
I do wonder
doesn't look like he's lost too much time.
Yeah, I do wonder if we're maybe... Oh, who was that in the picture-in-picture with a
Stefani.
heavy hit?
Yeah, Stefani has had a bit of a rough race. They're currently running in 22nd, which is dead last.
And return to the pits, yeah. I think they had already pitted twice during the race, and that's rough.
Sorry, was it not too long ago we were talking about Walkowitz closing up to the back of White's car, because now the gap is 7 seconds. What happened there?
His last lap was a 29.7, so he must have made a fairly sizable mistake.
Oh, Rodriguez is back in the server. Maybe it was a disconnect.
Could have been. It was very quick him exiting out, so we'll have to keep an eye and see if he comes out of the pits or not.
Yeah, you can see that on Wolkowitz's car, actually. I believe the front, the bonnet there is looking like it's seen better days.
Yeah, it's, someone popped it a little bit, it looks like.
And Osborne is coming up right behind.
Yeah.
Boonstra, meanwhile, has run a faster last lap than Mike Gino. 8 minutes and some change. Sorry, just under 9 minutes ago. And Boonstra is just about to bring the gap under 1 second. Osborne looks like they're going to close up to the back of Wolkowitz and make this overtake happen fairly soon if what we're seeing is to be believed.
Yeah, I think Wolkowitz is really struggling there. That's a lot of damage, it looks like.
I'm going to take the TV2 cam here for Gino for the foreseeable future. So we have a little bit of an eye on that one. I don't think it's much of a surprise. Osborne quickly closing up that gap.
Selena's got it to a second. Wow,
Say again?
Selena has it down to a second. We might see a fight for the win here.
These would be huge for Selena.
Look at Jess closing in on Wolkowitz, where that's...
This is just going to be huge for their team in general.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing very good in the Constructors' Championship, and now looking at a potential P2, P4, or maybe even P1 if Selena can capitalize. Excuse me, can capitalize on a couple of mistakes here from Mike Gino, who has been starting to drop a little bit here as time goes on.
Oh, there goes Jess through on the inside, and makes that stick. Wolkowitz is not having a great time. Yeah, you can't pit at this point. You just have to stay out and hope for the best. And looks like Barker's, who I believe is Wolkowitz's teammate. I wonder if they'll swap positions there.
Well, they might have Barker defend against Robbie Toddy if they close up behind. It's a 3-second gap.
That's a really good point.
I don't think they're going to have to worry about it necessarily. We'll see how that develops. It looks like one of the only other fights going on. Curtis Adams was behind Sullivan, got overtaken earlier on, and is about a second behind now.
Rodriguez did come. It was Rodriguez, and they did come back out of the pit, so I think they might have had a disconnect. I think you're right.
I don't think this is necessarily a question of if Mike Gino will crack under the pressure just yet. But he's surely got to start to think about the driver behind.
Boom. Gino's running into some lap traffic. He's going to have to maneuver through this very well.
Surely all of the blue flag racers will know that this is a fight for the lead, though, if they've got their relative up, perhaps.
I think they'll be aware. But then again, just catching someone in the wrong part of the track where it's not easy to let someone by, especially here where it's so tight. So many tight corners, we're going too wide really isn't a possibility.
Barker has overtaken Wolkowitz, has already developed a 1 second gap. Last lap for Wolkowitz was a 1:26.5 versus the 1:25.4 of Toddy behind. Did not take fresh tires, so is at a bit of a grip disadvantage on the rears almost surely, but Wolkowitz, the BMW, is already a little bit shy to grip up on the front, and with front damage, you feel like that's got to be the limiting factor for them right now. They simply cannot get more out of the vehicle at this point with that damage on the front. For Toddy, that's going to be a huge improvement from their qualifying. Same for Lorenzo, if somehow they could capitalize on that. There's only 5 minutes left in the race, and they're 5 seconds behind Wolkowitz right now, but it's not impossible that with the attack from Toddy, it could slow down that car in front. Boonstra still 6/10 behind Gino now, trying to push as hard as they possibly can here near the end of the race, and I wonder, they did pit 1 lap later, so it's slightly fresher tires, but I feel like that's not going to be a very intrinsic advantage. I'm noticing last lap wasn't valid for Boonstra. If she had a couple of track cuts, this could also become a problem. If you need to drive a little bit more conservatively, well, I don't need to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely, especially after the last race where Selena did get a drive-through 4 track cuts on the last lap of the race, and I'm very sure she doesn't want that to happen again.
She's an aggressive driver, though. We saw it at Suzuka, trying to make inroads against some of the cars in front in the midfield. So once she gets this gap down to a position where she can attack, she is going to be attacking almost surely. This is going to be a battle for the lead pretty much all the way up until the end of the race. see a yellow flag in the background. It doesn't amount to much. Maxwell is also closing up to the back of Pat Cockcroft. I'll get that on the bonnet cam in the picture-in-picture so we can keep tracking the lead as that develops.
Yeah, we'll
This is a bit of a nail-biter.
Yeah, we'll see how they get by Sullivan. If maybe only Gino gets through here and Selena doesn't, that might create a bigger gap. But nope, Gino doesn't get through there.
I just see a little bit of a moment from Gino. I think I might have got it under control quickly if it was a moment of oversteer. Wolkowitz still with a 2.3 gap to Toddy behind. So they might be able to hold on to their P6 finish. Yellow flag's coming in. Gino's flashing the lights. It's lap traffic. It's good if Sullivan leaving that space near the apex. Boonstra is going to have the clean run as well. So blue flags continue to be courteous to nobody's surprise.
Yeah, and crucially for Boonstra, both got through at the same time. The only thing you don't want to see if you're Boonstra right now is Gino get by someone and you not get through at the same time.
It would have been disastrous if that blue flag was just slightly farther up the field. They would have had to take the racing line, and Boonstra would have to lift for that one. But oh, the gap's come down significantly just in those last couple of turns. I don't know what happened there for Gino, but now under some severe pressure, just one good run here onto the pit straight could see Boonstra into a very close battle. Now for the lead, potentially attacking in towards Druids. With this Porsche, with the tire advantage is what it seems like, and Boonstra later on the brakes by the looks of things is going to close up out into the traction zone now. Just needs a little bit of a better exit here from Druids, and she is absolutely going for it. This is what we want to see.
Selena is thinking W right now. Absolutely going for it.
I don't think this is going to be the white flag lap either, so you've got a little bit more time to work with.
Yep. But yeah, just no. Oh, here we go. Ooh.
On the splitting edge right now. Maxwell's dropped back. I'll get on board with Felker, who's just about a half second behind Ron Flo in front. But keep the commentary focused here on the battle for the lead. Again, Boonstra looks like she's carrying a heck of a lot more speed, slightly wide there on the exit.
Oh, she doesn't care. She's on the grass. She's all over the track. She wants this win.
Maximizing track limits as much as is possible. Get a 5-10 advantage on Mike Gino on the last lap. Sullivan behind. I think they just got a yellow flag. I'll get that on replay for you guys in the PIP. They've gone round by the looks of things.
Yeah, we will have one more lap after this one as we start it. Or no, this will be the final lap we're going on. So.
Ooh. I thought there was going to be one more. Ooh, Boonstra almost with a pit exit there. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, I don't know who that was either. Wow. That was close. That was a little too close.
Toddy 1 second behind Wolkowitz right now. Lorenzo half a second behind that. Flo half a second behind Felker, who got that overtake done. Maxwell 8/10 behind Cockcroft. A lot of potential movement. Just one mistake could be a defining factor for this race for a couple of races. I'll get on board with Lorenzo in the PIP, but again, sticking on with the leader right now, who has a 7/10 gap. Almost no shot that Boonstra can make this happen unless she has a mighty lap or Gino makes a mistake at this point, and he's looking at 3 consecutive race wins as that gap comes up to a second. I wonder if Selena is just backing off. She goes well wide there, and that's surely going to be it.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic effort from Boonstra to try and get that win, but Gino, I mean, just been incredible these last 3 races. Do you think that we're Gino's good luck charm?
Could be.
I think we might be. We'll have to ask him.
Don't really know. Maxwell up behind Cockcroft right now as they go on to the final lap, maybe looking to get a move done into Paddock Hill. So I think it's safe to move off battle for the lead right now as Gino does cross. What a drive.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, to have the top 2 that close to each other, and then, I mean, they had Weisskopfer by 25 seconds. That's incredible.
Weisskopfer doing a good job to hold on to his position as well, though. P3 finish.
Especially, I mean, how far he moved up the field and not taking tires, so... Yeah, fantastic job.
impressive drive for many throughout the field. Lorenzo coming up behind Toddy. Ooh, who was that? Oh no!
What happened there?
Oh, must have just dipped a little bit wide.
Did he have
on the last turn?
Or a snap oversteer? I'm not sure what happened.
Oh no! Huge contact in the midfield. Maxwell into the side of Cockcroft, I believe. I want to get that one back. I'll take it on the picture-in-picture. It was in the outfield. They were having a close battle. As soon as I looked over and going up the inside here, this is a good run, and then no.
I think Cockcroft just turned in a little too much there.
Thankfully, the belt.
But I believe maybe gave the position up there.
Looking at it here, and yes, Max will cross the line first.
I believe that is the field.
What a race. All the way down to the wire. Close battles throughout. Nothing not to love here.
That was a heck of a race. I mean, so much of the race we just had so many cars close to each other, and yeah, that to have the lead be that close and be within a second for the last few laps, a fantastic race.
Yeah. Loads of battles up and down the field, lots of movement as well. Again, notable improvements for the likes of Selena Boonstra, Austin Whitecarver. Amazing performances from both of them. Jess Osborne plays P3 in Valencia, if memory serves, and managed a 4th place here. So surely they're going to be moving out in front in the constructors' standings. Walkowitz did not have the appearance that he wanted after taking the win at Alton Park, but manages to take P6 here. Certainly a solid performance, even with the damage, holding on there alongside teammate Barker as well, the 230, who has been relatively quiet in this season up until now. P5 for that BMW. So an incredibly solid performance from all of them. Robbie Toddy moved up the field, and Christian Lorenzo, despite that moment at the end, also moved up the field. Matthew Harold, after returning from a bit of a hiatus in P9, can't be mad with that. Felker, P10, I'm impressed there. Maxwell had a mighty recovery drive after an incident early in the race to take 12th. Curtis Adams up 8 positions in total. Fisher, I think, is the ultimate. Not Fisher is the ultimate loser. We know the ultimate loser. It was Rodriguez from pole.
Yeah.
Oh. But Fisher also had a pretty lousy go of it as well. Took 2nd place last week and finished the 16th here.
Yeah, I think that's going to have huge implications on the team championship. Lorenzo and Fisher not having a great race between the two of them. Not the worst race, but then Boonstra and Osborne both just continuing to constantly put themselves in the top 10 and just snagging podiums. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how the standings fall after this one.
We can start to think about pulling in.
Let's go for our winner.
Go for Mike Gino. Why not?
He's there.
Mike Gino, welcome once again. You know, people started to make jokes about the Max Verstappen podcast during the Formula One season. I'm feeling that we might need something similar here. Tell us about the pit strategy, first of all, because we want to hear a little bit about your thoughts on how that changed the development and how you felt actually having a little bit of competition at the front of the field this race.
Yeah, that wasn't a Max Verstappen win, that's for sure.
Not really.
All over the back of me for 60 minutes, and it was awful. In a good way. But yeah, the pit was the ideal pit is pretty much come in right in the middle. But I wanted to at least come in 1 lap early to hopefully cover off any undercut from Selena. I didn't practice with like switching tires, so I wasn't sure if new tires would be like need to heat up and be slower or what, but I'm also like pretty confident on my pitting, so I figured I'd be at least not get beat time-wise on the pit. So I just came in like 1 lap early. I think it was like 33 minutes left, and plus the stop's 30 seconds, so it took a little bit extra.
So you did not take tires?
No, I did.
Okay, you did. Okay.
Yeah, no, with how the tires were at the end of 30 minutes and at the end of the race, there's no way I could have held on to it with old tires. It
Yeah.
was
That's
they
how
went so
it
hard.
looked across the field, and I think we maybe only clocked White's Carver and one other driver that did not take tires, if we're correct. We could be wrong on that, though. It's hard to tell because people can maybe fix damage and things like that, but
Right.
yeah, you had a fantastic drive tonight.
Yeah, my strategy was the only reason why I wouldn't take tires if I was trying to do like a huge undercut to gain like 5 seconds on someone and just hope I hold a track position. But I forget who it was, and in the Ghost Rider group chat said it was like by the end of the race it was over a second per lap you were losing. So it just, well, it's nice being in front so you have options. But
Well, you
but that
came
was
out
my
in clean
plan.
air, and you
Yep.
took tires, and even taking tires. I noted, during the broadcast, my practice race, it felt like the tires were starting to go a little bit at the end of 30 minutes on just the one set. And then here again, I'm going to be honest, it was a great drive, but we did notice you were getting slightly loose here and again. So I'm sure if you were on old rubber, it probably would have been worth more than 5 seconds a lap of time lost. So good, just good on you. And, having Selena behind, surely not an easy task. We know how aggressive she can get. And were you concerned there at the last couple of laps there? Because were you relieved at about 1:15 when you got the white flag as opposed to going around for another racing lap?
So I was watching the Delta for 60 minutes basically, and just watching my rear view, to just hoping that something would happen behind me that would take her off, either blue flags, like get in the way, or just go off, and it just never happened. She was always like 1 to 2 seconds behind me, and then the final laps where she was like right on me, I think within half a second, and I was losing tire pressure in my back right, and I thought for sure she had me because I just couldn't exit the corners. And I knew which corners were hers and which were mine, and so I knew kind of where it was going to happen. So I was just holding on in those few spots. But yeah, there was one corner where she went off, and I didn't realize it was the last lap. Actually, I wasn't sure what time I crossed the line, and I never got a white flag warning. So I was like praying that it was the final lap, and I wasn't sure until I got to the straight and it said checker flag. So I didn't even know that it was the last lap. I was just hoping. So, but yeah, I'm sweating.
Yeah, you got all the time to relax now. It was a very solid race, incredible pace, and even though you weren't able to start on pole, let's be honest, the misfortunes of Eduardo Rodriguez certainly helped you a little bit. So a little bit of good fortune for you on this race, maybe a little bit of bad fortune with those blue flags you mentioned not holding up Selena as much as maybe you were hoping, but you walk home with the win. That's car racing, that's motorsport.
I'll take it.
So yeah, congrats to your third win in a row. Adam, you got anything else?
Yeah. Mike, are we your good luck charm? You've won every race since we started commentating.
Since you guys started commentating, it's true. I haven't lost yet.
Yeah.
Which is, you might be a good luck charm because the last 2 tracks are not my tracks at all. Brands Hatch is one of my favorites, so I knew coming into the season I'd have a chance at it. But I think you guys might be, because I don't think I would have won those first 2 at least without you guys.
It's ironic, I think, because I could have sworn I saw somebody in the chat say that Brands Hatch was your track.
Yeah. I believe
how do you address these allegations?
Well,
because Valencia's not your track, and Suzuka's not your track, and you took those fairly solidly, and then Brands Hatch, you had less than a second of a gap behind.
Well,
So
Brands Hatch is Selena's track too, apparently.
I hate to invoke the name, but it was Bailey who said that, and if you say Bendy Brew, we're gonna kick you so fast.
I'll make sure it's the last
I'm kidding.
But any like British track or like tight track, I love. So the next few, like Zolder is another good one that I like. Olton, I'm disappointed how I finished on that one, but that's another favorite. And where are we at next week? It's another like.
Next week is Zolder, and is next week Laguna.
Oh, Laguna's, yeah, that's right.
It's Laguna. It's Laguna or Zolder. They're in some order there, and then Bathurst to finish the season off.
Right. Yeah, so big fan of the admins for putting the schedule together because I feel it was like tailored towards me.
Well, I'm glad someone likes it.
Yeah, I might be the only one.
Well, I'm sure you're having a good time with the season so far. We'll give you a chance here to put out some final words. I'm sure we'll see you again in the booth. So until next week, I suppose.
Yep, and don't forget to buy Bendy Brew, bendybrew.com.
Oh, get him out
Get
of
him
here!
out.
All right, he's done. He's done. I kicked him out. I want to pull in White's Carver next, who had a good recovery from the last couple of races. So unless there are objections there.
We need to put a let's bring in Austin, but we need to put a no Bendy Brew sign up on the commentator booth.
It's ironic considering I'm part of Ghost Rider, but whatever. We'll get Austin White's Carver in. Welcome, my good man, Austin White's Carver, P3 finish. You didn't necessarily have the greatest outing in the last couple of races, but now you're back on the rostrum. How's it feel?
It feels good. I've also been waiting for this moment ever since I screwed up my first ever interview where I joined and left. So this is my redemption arc for 2 reasons.
We had somebody, I don't remember who it was last week we tried to pull in, and they immediately left after.
Robbie.
It was Robbie.
Yeah, he pulled Robbie in and he left right away.
He was having none of it, so you're doing better than that at least already. So.
Yeah. But it was a good race. Did not expect the race to come to me like this, for sure. I know for a fact, starting P12, I was not looking at a podium. But chaos ensued. Started off with Brands Hatch, and Brands Hatch did Brands Hatch things.
Yeah, I mean, you just drove an incredibly clean race, and you just moved up. You started, was it 14th or 12th? 12th to 3rd. That's fantastic of Brands Hatch to make up 9 positions.
Yeah, and shout out to Lorenzo and Walkowitz. That was probably my only battle on track, and we all kept it clean, and we all trusted each other throughout a lot of the laps.
Yeah, we were keeping an eye on it. It was very impressive, and once you got onto the front, it looked like you were really pushing the limit of what your vehicle could do. I mean, there was a couple of times where you had to apply a little bit of opposite lock, but nothing too severe, and it clearly paid off. You had the pace, and you moved forward. So, I mean, I've almost got no more questions already. I feel like we've exhausted everything to say. It was a good, clean race. You moved up 9 positions, and an overall incredibly solid performance. I mean, what do you think this is going to mean for you moving forward with the remainder of the season? It looks like, it felt almost like a, if I may make another Formula 1 reference, you looked a little bit like Perez in the last couple of races where, we knew you had it, but you couldn't quite put it together up until now. So do you feel a little bit more confident moving forward now that you have reaped the benefits of your strong pace?
Yeah, definitely. It is a definite confidence booster. I really haven't had that race before. I've been here for like a year, so having this really feel like the turnaround for me, because I know the second half of the season, past however many, not great second half for me. I always start off strong and then fall off, but kind of had a little bit of an opposite problem where I started off okay, and now I'm kind of picking it up, and we'll see how Zolder goes. Last time I was there, I was not able to take the curbs. Shout out the 488.
Oh,
let's
not talk about it. That was an awful season.
That was the season all of Grid Thieves decided to boycott. So
we effectively quit the series after that season.
Me and Josh Poppin were the only Grid Thieves representing the team.
I think you guys were the only ones that drove at Zolder and at Olton that season, because the rest of us were just like, we're not doing this.
Olton, I made it 4 laps, so
that's 4 more laps than I even attempted. So
yeah, Josh at least made it through the whole thing.
He's a hero.
To be fair, if I had a little bit more severe of a crash, I probably wouldn't have made it 3 laps at Olden Park, because I tipped the wheel onto the grass and went sideways into the barrier. So that's more than I can say. But yeah, I mean, quality race for you. I guess that's it from me.
I have one last quick question. Did you take tires or not? It looked like you didn't.
I did actually take tires.
Did, okay.
But I struggled a lot in the second half. I felt like I needed to take tires though, because my pressures were not where I wanted them to be. They were like 26.1, 26.2.
Yep.
And then my right rear was at 25.8. So I took tires, bumped the pressures up 4 clicks just to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking notes for tomorrow's race. Is bump up tire pressures, because it seems like it's starting to get a little bit cold out there on the track.
Yeah, we had Gino in the booth before you, and he said that his rear was super low at the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely the right rear is the problem child. But yeah, I was kind of locked into my strategy though too. I had I think 45 liters and then with 56 on pit, so I was really just kind of locked into what I was going to do.
Yep.
So I didn't really have a plan A or B or C. It was just, this is it. Whatever happens, happens.
Well, on that point, actually, that does bring up one more question for me. I feel like it begets us to ask the drivers what you thought of the strategy mix-up with the 25-second mandatory pit stop. Do you think that this produced better racing potentially with the potential addition of tire and fuel strategies? Did you enjoy that format?
It's hard to say right now. Obviously, just coming out of the race, like I think it played a factor, but at the same time, I need to go back and look at everything. I did enjoy the different strategy calls you can make with it, but yeah, I definitely need to go look back through because still on that high of how I did, so can't really give you an accurate answer.
Yeah. Well, we'll let you celebrate a little bit, I suppose, and get back into the race review because there was a lot to look at.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some Bendy Brew coffee.
Oh my
God!
God.
Get him out of here! No, get him out of here!
Awesome drive!
Geez.
Awesome drive!
Oh man, awesome drive! But God, can we just get a non-Bendy Brew salesperson in here?
It is 11 p.m. on the East Coast. We can't have caffeine this late. We have to go to bed.
Good God! All right, well, let's pick at least one more. If you want to go ahead and take your pick, there's Maxwell in the chat. I see Matt Harold, Rodriguez, Christian, and Lorenzo. I feel would be good to talk about.
We can grab our last podium finisher with Selena,
Boonstra?
And then if we want to try and pull the silver podium, we have Lorenzo, Felker, and Flo.
That might be worth. Let's get Boonstra on first. So we'll just pull her in. Welcome for the.
Hello.
Is this the second week in a row now? Or maybe even the third that we pulled you on to the commentary booth. So welcome, apparent favorite of the casters. Well, aside from Gino, but that's for obvious reasons. How do you feel about that race? I mean, P2 finish, looking like it might have been a P1 there for a little bit, but certainly a solid improvement from last week.
Yeah, I'm really, really ecstatic of the result I got today. Like, after the two unfortunate races, I mean, a P2, close to P1. I mean, I was close to P1, but I'll gladly take a P2. Gladly.
I have to say I'm a little bit surprised to hear you say that because, I mean, it was a Herculean effort in the last couple of laps is what it looked like to me. I mean, it was, a 1.5 second gap at the start of the race. It turned into a 3 second gap after the pit stop. It looked like it was just going to be, just a normal hold position drive. And then in the last 5 or so laps, you closed that gap down to, I believe the lowest it got was roughly 0.3 of a second. I mean, you were bumper to bumper with the lead. So I am a little bit surprised to hear you say that you're willing to settle for that. I understand that it's a nice result for you, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never won before, so I mean, I'm still working towards that, but I never had P2 before overall. So, I mean,
Really?
Yes, that's a personal one for me, but one step at a time.
Did you have a podium before now? Is this your first podium?
Second. Last season I had P3 overall at Donington Park, actually.
Huh.
So that was also a good race.
Well, second podium. I mean, that's. I guess you can't necessarily be too mad about that. But I mean, for you and Jess now in the constructors standings, this is a story that we've been following. I mean, neither of you guys have managed to take a win, but with more than a couple of podiums now on the season, or I think it just get no, I think it's just a couple, 2 podiums, one last week and one this week from yourself. You guys are just annihilating. I have to check the standings right now, but I'm sure that you're going to be fighting for the Constructors Championship. If neither of you are fighting for the Drivers Championship, I'd be surprised as well. I mean, what are your thoughts on that moving forward the remainder of the season?
I'd say, like, if we just keep up the pace that we have right now, we probably could, like, maybe have a win at the team standings. I mean, I think both of us are just working towards, like, the team standings since we're in a better position for, like, winning, if that is so to speak. But that's pretty much our focus, pretty much just the team standings instead of personal driver standings, but we'll see where that goes. Looking to be going pretty well so far anyway in the team standings, which is good.
Well, if I'm looking at it right now, which I believe it is fully updated, it is 718 points to you, Lunar Motorsports, Comic Racing. In second place, Lorenzo Fisher, Motorsport, 640, and then Ghost Rider Racing, Mercenaries at 599. Yeah. So you've got a relatively significant lead there.
Yeah, and that won't be the final points because ACCSM doesn't factor in the drop race.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
But I do believe with the finishing positions between you and Jess and then Lorenzo and Fisher, I think you guys have probably moved back into P1 in the team championship.
That's good. That's what we're looking for.
Because it was only 17 points going into tonight's race, so you with the P2 and Jess ended up P5?
4, I think.
4. I've already lost my results. I had them right here.
4th.
Yep,
yes,
you're correct. P4. So yeah, I mean, that's fantastic finish for the team.
Nice. Absolutely solid.
Well, yeah, no, I absolutely saw. That's all we can really say about it. I mean, it was great drive from you. I am wishing for you a win this season. You know, all it takes is for Mike to make a mistake, which apparently is rather unlikely, but you got fairly close, even despite the odds. So I feel like there is a dub headed your way before too long if you can hold. As you mentioned, you're looking for consistency, and I've been told that consistency breeds speed, and I know this to be true as well. So I'm looking forward to your future in this season. But I think we're about ready to let you go. So if you got any final thoughts, now's the time.
Shout out to Jess for that solid P4. And shout out to the commentators for a very solid stream as usual. And also, final shout out to Sacred Coffee for supporting me.
Get out of here! Oh my!
She got us. I was thinking she's not gonna do Bendy Brewing. She got us. She got us.
Stop with the coffee. This is where I'm gonna find out that she was actually like paid to plug that, and I just kicked her out in the middle for ad.
Oh, I was just thinking, oh man, she said solid stream. We'll wait till she watches the beginning.
Oh my goodness! All right, do we want to pull in one more, or should we?
Yeah, if we want to bring in Lorenzo, who was our silver winner.
Yep. So let's get in Lorenzo real fast. I'm gonna just check just real quickly where the qualifying was and where they finished. It was a 5th qualifying and 8th finish. So. Not a terrible result, so we'll get Lorenzo in and ask him about their race in 3, 2, 1. Oh, and they're muted. I think we might have just caught them at just the wrong time.
Christian, we pulled you into the booth.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
I can't believe that you would not be able to foresee that we were going to pull you in exactly at this time.
As we're just yanking people in willy-nilly all over the place.
You're 100% fine. Tell us about the race, my good man. A 5th overall qualifying. You had a mighty lap, if memory serves, a 123.88 in 5th position in total. I mean, tell us a little bit about that and how the race played out for you.
Yeah, I mean, quali was, I think it was close to my personal best. Like, yeah, everything like clicked together basically at the end there. But the race kind of sucked for me. I was just going backwards all the time. Got a little tap, got like 6 or 8 seconds of damage, and I don't know how, like I lost a ton of downforce, and yeah, just kept going backwards. But
yeah, there was
a fun battle there at the end.
Yeah, there was a point around the halfway point where you just seemed to really be losing out to everyone around you. But unless we're mistaken, you did bring the silver win home, which was fantastic. But yeah, your qualifying was fantastic. I really thought that your time was maybe going to stand up for pole, but I mean, still a top 5 finish, especially with the way the track evolved, going out in the first group. I mean, that was fantastic lap.
Yeah, I'll take it. if we can do that every race, I'll take it.
Absolutely. So something I kind of have a question as a follow-up. to what Adam mentioned is, tell us about that halfway mark through the race. We talked about how the McLaren seemed to suffer a little bit from tire wear, at least in my experience. And what we noticed on track is lap times did start to come down a little bit. Did you end up taking tires for your pit stop? And if so, did you notice a significant improvement in performance just after you started your second stint?
Yep, absolutely. Like I just extended my stint a little bit too long. That's why I started losing so much time. But as soon as I put like the first tires, I gained like a second or second and a half almost. I was doing like 24.3, so it was almost close to my quali lap. At the beginning of the stint, with the fresh tires. At the end, it kind of, started dying again. But for sure, like tires gave me a ton of time. In hindsight, I would have pitted like 5 minutes earlier. It would have been better, but yeah, it still worked out. I think I still finished in the top 10.
Yeah, so. P8, that's still a fantastic finish for you.
Yep. Some good points there for the championship.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you did move a little bit backwards this go around, but still, in that top 10 finish, you can't necessarily be, I would say, too unhappy with that. Well, I say that, but you surely can, and, well, I don't know. But after a P5 finish at Valencia, your consistency looks to be pretty solid overall. So looking at the constructor standings, the championship for the drivers championship, as some might call it, you're currently sitting in 10th place, 129 points, that's some quick caster math for you, behind the overall leader, which of course is Mike Gino. So you are actually quite in the mix here if some developments go on. It looks like you could be on for a top 5 finish if you continue moving up. So it's just been a solid season for you so far. Hardly feels befitting then that you are a silver driver up to this point. I don't know. Just give me a little bit of insight on what it's like to be one of the top drivers in the silver split in D4.
It's actually a surprise. I was actually gold at the beginning of the season, but I had like super bad luck the first 2 races, and I think at Suzuka I was like P3 at the start, and I didn't do much practice with like full fuel, so all my braking points were wrong and kept messing up. I think I finished like 15 or something.
13th is what I'm saying. So
so,
you qualified third and then did finish in 13th, so you are correct there.
Yeah, so I think that's what really messed up my, my classification, and I got into the silver. I think should be gold, but I'll take it. I mean, I'm leading the championship, I guess, like the silver championship. It feels a little bit cheap, but yeah, not much I can do at this point.
It was a solid race. Even if you did move down a little bit, the high qualification certainly saw you at least competing a little bit. And who knows, if you were able to go out in that second group after the track evolution, we saw Gino with a lap, I believe, was roughly 4/10 faster than yours. And with track evolution, I think all of us can speak from experience that you can find quite a bit of time. Yeah. So who knows where you would have been, but it's all in the past now. You can look forward, and like I said, I feel very solidly about your odds of placing highly in the future. Next week is Zolder. Any thoughts about that in particular?
I'm super scared about that chicane, especially in the McLaren. Like that curve is gonna be the death of a lot of people in there.
Yeah, well, the Evo takes the curbs a lot better than the previous one I have on good authority. So that's gonna be a little bit better for you. Adam, any more questions here?
No, I don't have anything.
Well,
okay.
Any last comments then, Kristen, before we let you go?
Oh, God help me if you mention Bendy Brew.
Or any other coffee-related thing. I will move you out of the chat before you're finished speaking. As a warning, I will do this. I did it twice already. All right, so...
No, I just want to thank you guys, for everything that you're doing. It's a blast watching the replays again. So, yeah, thanks for that.
You guys give us fantastic action to call, so we're having so much fun.
Yeah, I'll try to make it better next time. I'll try to go forward for a change.
We'll keep that in mind. I'm going to put that on my note sheet for next week immediately. Thanks, Kristen. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, man.
Have a good night.
Okay. Well, I got to say, this has been the best week so far.
Did we finish our ad reads?
We didn't. I was about to get there because we have to say a big thank you to our affiliates for making all this possible. It's been an amazing round 5 here at Brands Hatch, and our affiliates who made this possible, like I said. Track Racer, experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. You can use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for Assetto Corsa Competizione that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced heads-up display to change the way you experience ACC. And to-go setups, premium esports setups for everyone. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level, as many have done so here today. Adam, I don't know. It's been phenomenal. Everything I could have asked for and then some.
Yeah, D4 keeps delivering every single race. So I'm so excited to see these last 3 races and how things are going to shape up in all 3 championships.
Truly phenomenal stuff. Well, that's going to be it for us tonight. End of the content. Once again, though, the remaining divisions that did not race tonight will be on 9 p.m. tomorrow on all of the Sim Racing Alliance channels that you know and love. The Twitch, the YouTube, well, I don't know if there's the other one, but they'll be, you will be able to see all the races that take place. Of course, Adam's going to be on. I'm going to be on, and I'm probably going to end up crashing out at turn 1. So we'll see you tomorrow here on the Sim Racing Alliance channel, and we specifically will see you guys all next week for Zolder. Again, same time, same place. And yeah, that's all I got.
See ya.